of them are here?
Any council members from this, sir?
No, they're not here. They're not. All right. No, they're here somewhere. They're hiding. No, I'm like, you're right. Cases it was. Cases it not. They haven't done anybody in the police union. They tried to unionize the bank. Can you imagine? All right. We'll call the meeting of the City Council to order and state that the notice for this meeting was duly posted. There is a quorum of City Council. Councilman Ellencat is out of the city at a conference, and Chief, are you going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance? He'll stand. The Chief of Police is going to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. I'll find my agenda. There it is. Everybody's here, all right. Need to swear in the members who have volunteered to serve on the TERS boards, different TERS boards for this next period of time, and go back and remind people that we have citizens in the city who have volunteered their time to serve on these TERS boards, and TERS boards are set up, that's TERS, T-I-R-Z, stands for Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, and these are zones within the city that were established that give tax incentives to development within those districts. And again, I think sometimes there's misunderstanding that we're giving away something where we're not, because to be reimbursed for what they put on ground, they have to establish value before that happens. So without these TERS being in place, a lot of the areas within the city probably would not be developed even as far as today. But I think the important thing is that these TERS boards are made up of citizens of Missouri City who make the decisions what happens within those TERS. Not just the city council, it's not just us making those decisions. We elect people throughout the city to serve on those positions to help us make those decisions. So it is a citizen's decision, not a city council decision about what happens in these TERS. So tonight we're going to swear in those people that are here tonight to take those positions because they're like every other committee or commissions. They have to take an oath of office to serve in that position. So I'm going to ask them to come up here and I'll swear them all in at once. So Frank Hester was duly appointed Commissioner of TERS number 2. Yeah, you give him a hand. That's all they get out of it. Vicki McBride was duly appointed as a Commissioner of TERS number 1. Lynn here? I didn't see Lynn. There's Lynn. Lynn Goff is Commissioner of TERS number 1. Some of these are being reappointed, and some are new. These are old hands and one new hand. David Wrights, appointed Commissioner TERS 3. David's being reappointed. Yes, sir. Joyce Rayner, and Joyce is being appointed. This is her first appointment to TERS 3. Buford Eureka. Buford is appointed to TERS 2, and he's being reappointed. And Ron Lee is being reappointed to TERS 2 and 3. He served both of them.
Are they going to have a victory party? Don't forget to invite us.
They're having an election party afterwards. Margaritas. Huh? That's going, huh? They're going over to Joyce's house.
We're gonna hold him to that too.
Going over to Joyce's house. Did I give, did they have their name on them? I did, okay. Did I give it? Okay. I thought they were blank. Mine's blank, so that's why I was worried. All right. You raise your right hand and repeat after me, and I'm going to say "I," and you're going to state your name, and then we'll go from there. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the TERS number, whatever number you're in.
TERS number 1.
All right.
That sounds good.
Of the state of Texas.
Of the state of Texas.
And will to the best of my ability.
And will to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution and laws of the United States.
The Constitution and laws of the United States.
And of this state.
And of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. If you always sign those, secretary before you leave, and then y'all can all get over to Joyce's house for the party.
Margaritas.
Yeah, margaritas and chips.
Throwing it off on Joyce.
I know.
Happy New Year to you, sir.
Now they're hooked for good.
Yeah.
Public collection, best I can. I'll take it for, and get it to Miss Maria. Oh, there you go. Oh, well, thank you.
And thank you all for agreeing to serve again, or to serve, period.
There we go, thank you. Buford, how you doing, sir? All right, ma'am. Mayor knows the next sentence.
All right. Moving on along, public comments, there are none, or no one has signed up for any. Staff reports, I did not see any staff reports. So item 6 is a consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed?
Second.
Councilman Emery made the motion, Councilman Wynn made the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item 7 are public hearings and related action. 7A1.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending regulations in PD Plan Development District Number 55 consisting of a 25.776 acre tract of land, describing said 25.776 acre tract of land, regulating and restricting the development and use of property within such PD Plan Development District, amending the zoning district map of the City of Missouri City as adopted by ordinance number 0811, adopted on January 19, 1981, as amended, providing for an amendment to the comprehensive plan, providing for appeal, providing a penalty, providing for severability, and containing other provisions relating to the subject.
Have there been any changes, Jennifer, since the last?
There were changes to clarify that screening would be required all around the outside storage, so that's including areas that may not be visible from public streets.
Okay.
Move to adopt.
Mayor Pro Tem White made the motion, Councilman Smith made the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Wasn't near as bad the second time, was it? Or third? Item 8 are appointments. Item 8B is consider appointing a member of the Board of Directors of the Fort Bend Subsidence District Board for a 2-year term beginning February 1, 2014 and ending January 31st, 2016.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we appoint Mr. William Wallace.
Pro Tem White made the motion to appoint William Wallace, reappoint him, and Councilman Smith made the second. All those in favor, motion carries. William's done a great job. I know I get a lot of good reports from the Subsidence District that he represents us very well. represents everybody very well, so. Item 9 are authorizations. 9A is consider awarding a contract for construction improvements to Mustang Biowater Plant Number 1 and Number 2.
Yes, good evening, Council. This is a project to replace a failing storage tank. In February this year, we had a evaluation conducted by Dunham Engineering. This was a time that we took a look at the 3 storage tanks in the what's called the Vicksburg water plants. We now have called the Mustang Bayou Plant Number 2, and then also the ground storage tank located at the Mustang Bayou Plant 1 over there in Creekmont. And so those were evaluated, looked at condition. We found that the 246,000 gallon tank located at Vicksburg is beyond its useful life, as according to the engineer. And so we looked at meeting that and making that replacement happen in the capital project for this year. And the other one is that at the 600,000 gallon tank at the Mustang Bayou Plant 1 in Creekmont, we're seeing some pinholes in the floor. We patched those temporarily so we could then get in there and sandblast, repair, and fully paint as a combined product and project. So with that, we put the project out for bid. Engineer Binkley and Barfield did the design plans. Went to bid. We had 4 bidders respond. The low bidder was H2O Steel Contractors. They're represented here tonight by Ricky and Robert Peel. And they're looking forward to it. Their low bid was $416,000. We did not take the alternate to do a bolted tank, so we're going with a welded steel tank. Will be painted to match the others, which will be a tan color, and then we're also looking to put our logo on the side of it.
While that's being built or constructed, is it built adjacent to the existing one, and, or
No,
what do you do with, I mean, in the meantime, while you got the other one down?
We're looking at doing it this time during the low water usage, so therefore we're able to take a tank out of service, and that tank will be taken down, and the existing, to keep costs down, we'll be reutilizing the existing foundation structure and build right on top of that. Then when that tank is complete and then on service, then they'll be looking at taking the other 600,000 gallon, make the repairs in there, paint that, and get back in service.
And what's our time span on doing
We
that?
have calendar days, 150 calendar days is scheduled for this
And
project.
it would be down completely?
That would be worked out. Usually it takes about, I believe, 8 weeks, 8 to 10 weeks? It'd be about 8 to 10 weeks to do the new storage tank. It's only about 3 to 4 weeks to paint the old one.
And that does not affect any of our fire pressure?
That is correct. We
In
have
that
enough
area?
redundancy associated with that
One
at
of
this
the
time.
advantages of us unifying the utility system out there is us having the ability to take a tank down at one facility and still
Okay.
maintain the system.
How old
Okay.
are those tanks?
Oh, God, Vicksburg must be 30 years old.
Well, actually, I looked that up, anticipating your question, was that the tank that we're taking down was built in 1997. And so it's about a 17-year life, and that's about expected for a bolted steel tank.
Which one is 1997?
The one that we're removing and replacing.
Is that the Vicksburg one?
That's the Vicksburg plant.
Okay.
The tank the 246,000 gallon tank that is being removed under this contract was built in 1997. To give a little history at that site, the first tank was built in 1983. The Vicksburg Joint Powers subsequently replaced that tank in 2000. So that was about 17-year life. The other tank that's on that site was built in 2005.
So what is the life expectancy of a tank like that?
Of a welded steel tank or a bolted steel tank like there is about the 17 to 20-year lifespan. It's right in that lifespan for removal and replacement.
On the welded?
Welded will get longer life, usually because you're able to go in and rehab, repaint, you can extend that life based on that. So you use a little thicker steel, but in that you can go in and rehab more frequently if necessary and extend the life of that tank.
Are they
longer.
lined?
They are epoxy lined.
Epoxy lined?
Epoxy lined with an NSF 61 approved coating.
And the funding is coming from,
I'm sorry, sir. Oh, funding. We have that based out of our capital improvement. It's out of our the bond associated in Mustang Bayou.
revenue bonds?
These are the revenue bonds
Yes.
based upon the system, and then it would be pro rata charged back to the utility district out there.
Yeah, I'm just being a little distinct because we may have some other bond issues come up.
The funds are existing.
And those are repaid for by the users?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Councilman.
They're repaid by the users. That is correct.
Right, repaid by the user.
Those are ground storage tanks, too. They're not elevated.
That's correct.
Do we know what the life of this one back here is yet?
Well, that was
So we can get the
replacement.
new logo, so we can get the old logo off that one?
That's a painting. That'll come down to how often they want to repaint.
We're working on a possibility for that in this next budget.
All right. Is there a motion?
Second.
Councilman Emery made the motion, Councilman Wynn made the second. All those in favor? Motion carried. That's in your district.
Thank you, council.
All right, B's gone. Item 10, or ordinances 10A.
An ordinance of the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending Chapter 18 Businesses of the Missouri City Code, amending the rules and regulations related to food service regulations, providing for appeal, providing a penalty, and providing for severability.
Yes, sir.
It's a very simple proposal before you. 2 sessions ago, the state legislature established the cottage food industry, cottage food production, and they prohibited cities from regulating it. In the last session, they expanded the definition. What the ordinance before you does is follow the definition of the state statute so that it's very clear in our ordinances that we do not have authority to regulate cottage food production. The cover memo defines, gives the definition of cottage food production. Basically, it's baked goods, and they cannot make more than $50,000. They must prepare it in their home. They may not sell it from any place but their home. Baked goods, dried nuts, non-hazardous foods. If it's hazardous foods, then it's subject to our TIFA regulations or Texas Food Industry regulations.
Did you say they could only sell it through their home?
They can only sell it from their
They
homes.
couldn't sell it to at farmers markets or anything like that, or?
They can also sell from a farmer's
I
market.
thought
A farmer's market,
Okay.
a farm stand.
okay.
If they
Or
sell
fair
from
or
the
fest.
house, they're violating the deed restriction, are they not, as having a business?
All the zoning
If
ordinance.
they exceeded traffic and otherwise did that, yes. If they were having any level of successful
A business is a
correct.
business, right?
Correct, but they can utilize their home for the production of
Sure,
it.
but he said they can sell it out of their house
The statute allows them to.
unless there are other
But if-
things that prevent that, which
That
are like deed restrictions and
Certainly
zoning
has
and
to be
things.
balanced out in the
Okay,
long
well,
run.
I don't want people to go away from here thinking that we just opened up their house for baking pies and selling them out the back door, so,
Or bread.
or bread, or cookies. Don's thinking about going in the cookie business. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Councilman Smith made the motion, Councilman Wynn made the second. All those in favor, motion carries. Item 10B.
An ordinance for the City of Missouri City, Texas, amending Chapter 18 Businesses of the Missouri City Code, providing rules and regulations for metal recycling and crafted precious metal dealers, repealing all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing a penalty, and providing for severability.
Man, this one, yeah.
Well, we'd like you to consider approving this one. This is going to help us with our investigations. The Occupation Code now has some regulations that, set up rules and regulatory authority with the precious metal dealers and metal recycling companies have to report and all of that. This ordinance would actually give us the authority for us as municipal officers to go in and examine their stock and their inventory. It also will require them to have a permit from the city that gives us teeth, if you will, if they don't do the right things. We hope that it reduces the number of metal thefts,
Yeah.
type-related crimes, or people pawning stolen jewelry and things like that. It's hard enough to track this stuff down, but they'll also be required to report to a online reporting system that we'll have access to check for stolen property.
We don't have any full-fledged metal recycling facilities in Missouri City, do we? But this would cover things like the
Full-fledged,
Gold
like,
Store and other
it would cover
facilities
that,
like
but
that.
it'll cover the big metal recycling like you see in Houston where they pay you with $2 bills.
Right.
If we were to have one of those, which we
But we
do not.
don't.
Correct. It would cover those folks. It would cover people that, buy, pawn shops, people that, even jewelry stores, that if they take in someone's used jewelry, it would cover them also.
Very good. Yeah, I've never understood why they haven't tightened this law down tremendously with these recycling facilities. And, I mean, how do you walk into one of these places with, 150 pounds of brand-new wire and them not question where it came from?
Well,
I don't understand. It's like, come on, guys. If they quit buying it, they quit stealing it.
Do we have any feel for the number of occurrences where, there's a robbery or a burglary or something that, is associated with this type of a business, so we know what the magnitude, or just some feel for what the magnitude might be of what we're addressing?
well, it's quite common with stolen jewelry that they'll either sell it on the street, keep it themselves, and more often they'll sell it at a pawn shop or a gold buyer is normally what they do. That's generally where we find stolen jewelry, and that's oftentimes how our investigators actually determine a link between who committed the crime and who's actually selling it on the other end. So it is quite effective catching the folks this way. The fact that the state of Texas only has a limited number of people that actually look into these types of businesses, a local ordinance gives us the authority to do it at a greater rate.
Does Stafford have this ordinance?
That I'm not sure. I don't
You
believe that
discuss
they do.
this with Chief Cron and suggest to him that we are adopting it at this end. He does have the large recycler in his city, and they probably just haven't thought through this, but I bet if Bonnie took this to the mayor and council, they would adopt. And the same is in Sugar Land, although I'm not sure Sugar Land has a recycling. I'm not sure they've got one, but I know you all meet as chiefs. Would you all
We typically piggyback off each other's
remind
ideas all
both
the
of those
time.
chiefs that this is something that needs to be passed by them as well?
Recycling is just turning over a product, right? In other words, I can take my jewelry to somebody and sell it to them.
You could to a business. and
Yeah.
if
So we're not
this-
necessarily talking about tin cans.
No, actually, tin cans are aluminum
understand.
cans are exempt from all
Yeah.
of this. It's not the guys that are picking up, or the kids that are picking up
Right.
aluminum cans and that, doesn't, this, no. That's
This is
exemption.
copper wire and
This is crafted precious
Magnesium
metals,
and-
your class rings. That's actually what
White
our
gold.
big thing is. Or if they steal the
Gold.
big metal aluminum trusses from our park benches and try to go sell them, if we had such a business that would take those things here, we'll be able to monitor things such as that.
catalytic converters. No.
I was going to say which catalytic converters, but I don't want to put that in a public forum because all of a sudden that would increase here and I'd be the
yeah.
catalyst for that, so.
There already is. All right, is there a motion? You woke up down there. Goodness gracious. It's Ford, nice to have you back in there. I thought you slipped out on me. All right, Councilman Emery made the motion, Councilwoman Ford made the second. All those in favor? Motion carries. Item 11 are resolutions. Consider resolution to support the Brazos River Authority study of the lower Brazos River. Any reason that we wouldn't?
The Brazos River Authority is proposing to get a grant from the Texas Water Development Board. It's a one-to-one matching grant to study the Brazos River below the reservoirs. One of the outcomes of this will be to assist in preparing for flood and flood prevention. We are not significantly impacted in that area. It will provide additional information. We are proposing this resolution as support without any monetary contribution.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Scott, do we have any
Made the motion.
jurisdiction?
Jerry, did you make
Jerry
the
made the
motion?
motion. I believe.
Second. Do we have any jurisdiction on
We
the
skipped
Brazos
something.
River? Does it come under?
We skipped Nancy.
It's the state of Texas, and waters of the state of Texas, so they're the governing authority on that, with the Brazos River Authority being one of the
Skip
major players
Nancy.
in that. But, no, sir, we don't have any regulatory authority on it, and
No, that's been
our water
removed.
rights in the Brazos River are
Okay.
actually owned
And
by
BNC have been
GCWA that
removed,
we
I thought.
purchased through
Oh,
them, so we
okay.
don't have any
Yeah, BNC have
direct
been
ownership
removed.
of water
No,
rights
they-
either.
Yeah. Yeah, B and C were both removed, were they not? 90 and C were both removed, yeah.
They were pulled, yes.
All right, very good. There was a motion by Councilman White, second by Councilman Smith. All those in favor, motion carries. Item 11B is consider resolution authorizing the purchase of the same golf cart we just talked about in the LGC meeting and execution of the lease agreement for the financing. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Emery made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem White made the second. All those in favor, motion carries. All right, any reports other than
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody? We've not been back. We had a great New Year's gala at the City Center for those that weren't able to attend. But any other reports?
We have the recycling event this Saturday.
Yeah.
Just as kind of as announcements go.
Yeah, it's a PD and it's for
It's the
any
electronic recycling.
including TVs. I'll have 2 of them there.
Don't we have a couple of awards that we're receiving from HGAC? Is that, maybe that's later on in?
Yeah,
Now, there are a couple of awards.
The next city council meeting at Larry's, I think.
Okay, yeah, there's the one for Parks, which I was trying to remember, then Public Works got 2 from the Texas Public Works Association. So yeah, we're award rich. We'll cover those
Award
in
rich,
future.
huh?
Okay.
Have to
No
expand
monetary
have to
value.
expand the wall. Huh? Sharon's looking for some new boots. We can get her some new. All right, good. We got to go back in there and finish our closed executive session. Thanks, everybody, for coming. You can get home and watch the national football
Football game.
championship. Right, Charlie? Charlie can go light up, he can go light up Johnny football.
Hey, was that our shortest meeting?
No.